Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rob's Sunday Comic Corner. This is, I had to look in the corner to make sure I have the right number. This is episode 6, and this is the next to last week of DC Comics that are going to be printed while Convergence is going on. Excuse me. Lovely about going live. Have all the hiccups and all that type of wonderful stuff. But like I said, there'll be a 2-month gap in April and May that DC Comics won't be publishing any of their normal books like Batman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, etc., Suicide Squad, all those type of books. They will be replaced with Convergence books, and I'll talk more about Convergence. Google is your friend if you don't know what Convergence is. It's the next big crisis, if you will, in the DC universe. So it's kind of celebrating the Crisis series of books that DC Comics did, 20 some odd years ago or more. Some people have said this is also in this 2-month time span that is going on. This is the 2 months that DC Comics is literally moving from New York City out to California. So some people are looking at Convergence as a way for DC Comics to not be publishing stuff, and a lot of the writers, teams, and staff, and etc. are going out to California so they can be out there as they're doing their movies and television projects and all that stuff, and kind of keep Warner Brothers and DC Comics all together under one headquarters. So if anybody's on Twitter, you can kind of watch Dan DiDio and Jim Lee and various other writers and creative teams and heads of DC Comics packing up their stuff and getting ready to move out west. So some people think that Convergence is a little bit of a ploy to just have some downtime in between books, but it's going to be setting up and changing the DC universe again. The New 52 by name is ending, but the story and continuity for the most part of all the characters is going to stay the same. So we've got, kind of that going on, and we'll see how Convergence goes. It's going to be piggybacking off of Future's End and Earth 2 World's End, I think is the Earth 2 book that I'm not on. So after those events tie up, it directly goes into Convergence. So the story behind Convergence is more of where do worlds go when they end? After every decade or every era of DC Comics, be it the old DC continuity or the Golden Age or Kingdom Come or Young Justice or any variation of DC Comics, when they're no longer publishing those books or those worlds anymore, what happens to them? So from the synopsis, again, Google is your best friend if you want to know more. There's tons of literature out there about Convergence coming up, but it's the Brainiac is going through and collecting worlds or collecting these universes and putting them in like a dome. So the old DC universe that we knew before the New 52, those characters are still existing, but they've been trapped these past, 4 or 5 years in this dome, trying to figure out how to get out. And then Brainiac is moving people and characters from their different worlds and universes and mixing them all up and seeing how they cohabit and exist and all that stuff, which we'll get into the Convergence series, which I'm going to be on. And then I'm on a couple of these satellite books. I'm on the Batman and Robin book. And most of them are going to be 2 months. So there'll be a book in April and then a book in May, and then Convergence will wrap up. So the 8 or 9 weeks, it's a kind of another weekly series that the Convergence books, the main Convergence title, will explain what's going on. So I wanted to get that out there. So today I have really only 2 books and a third to talk about. I did not get my Deathstroke book for whatever reason. It was not in my hold. The guy at my comic book shop put it in somebody else's hold. So when I got home, I started thinking about, the books I should have had this week. I realized I was missing one. He went back and said, oh, you're right. I found it in somebody else's hold. So I'll have the Deathstroke book next week when I do it. And that'll be the final week of books that'll be published before Convergence. So a lot of writers and creative teams were told to be wrapping up their series at the end of April, whenever their last book was coming out before the month, to tie up any loose ends that they had. So I've got one of the main books here that I've been reading But the first thing we're going to do, like we've done every week so far for the last 5 weeks, is jump right into Batman Eternal. This is 51 of 52. I think I've said it every week. Can you believe we are almost to the end? And literally, we are almost at the end. Next Wednesday will be the conclusion of Batman Eternal. I'll give my full thoughts and opinions and feelings on Batman Eternal once the last book is out. And I'm kind of toying with the idea of actually reading the last issue of Batman Eternal on camera. I don't know if that's going to be boring for anybody, but I thought about doing that just to I've seen people put videos up of like their reaction video to watching the Age of Ultron trailer, or to witnessing the Batman versus Superman Comic-Con, exclusive footage, or, I think you've seen a lot of those, usually a lot of trailer type things. So I don't know if anybody's will be interested in that idea, to kind of see what my reaction is to the end of Batman Eternal. For the most part, I have enjoyed it. There have been a lot of things that have been kind of stretched out, that some people say this could have been wrapped up in 30 issues, but it's been kind of cool picking up a book every week that's telling one long narrative. And I've heard some people say, oh, that's a long time to be picking up books. I mean, I pick up comic books every single week. So, and granted, it's not the Batman and Robin title every single week, but I am picking up comic books every single week. So it makes no difference that I have one main book to pick up that's just telling this nice long story. So like I say, every week I do this, I will be spoiling things. So if you have not heard any of this, or you have not read anything, this is probably your opportunity to pause this, go to your local comic book store, buy it, or download it, and then come back and we'll have the discussion on this. So this is your last opportunity. Here we go. I was surprised. I guess I should have seen it. I want to go back. And some people say that the seeds were not planted well enough to be able to figure out who the big bad person is. I kind of think it was. I kind of went back to the first few couple issues, and I started reading those, and you could kind of tell where some things are. Now, granted, an entire year has gone by. This is 51 issues, with the 52nd and final issue coming out this Wednesday. So I want to put this down here. That's quite a lot to read, and there were some books that I haven't read for as far as a year ago. So there could have been little plot, little ideas, or maybe a throwaway line that didn't seem like it meant a whole lot until now. So it'll be kind of fun to kind of go back through some of these books and find out. So we are at the final part where Batman Eternal started, with Bruce Wayne tied to the bat signal. His cowl has been removed and his shirt has been removed, and somebody has carved the bat symbol into his chest, and kind of wondering, well, who could this be? The person that does it, again, this is the last time I'm going to say spoilers. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Clue Master. Did not see that coming. I guess you probably should have. They didn't go with a big baddie. Like the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, Hush. I kind of was hanging my hat on Hush, that, oh, this is going to be kind of another Hush story. And they really played the Hush card for quite a while. And this whole issue is basically the typical villain pontificating to our hero and just talking about his grand plan, and that you didn't expect somebody, a D-lister like us, to get the upper hand, that Signal Man and I want to say Brimstone, I'm probably getting it wrong, granted a year has gone by, but all of the group of people that were in Arthur Brown's house, or the Clue Master's house, when Stephanie Brown walked in on them, that little band of people were putting together this whole plot. And there was a map of the city of Gotham City that was sectioned off, where different events were going to be happening, where they were going to go after Batman. And their plan was to distract Batman and kind of reach out to other villains and say, just wreak havoc in Gotham City. Do the things that you need to do, all work together, while the Clue Master is just plotting his plan through Gotham City and can kind of take control and manipulate each members of the Bat family and Batman, and kind of get Batman so distracted that he can't see the overarching big picture. So we get this moment where Bruce finally gets free, and the Clue Master takes off Batman's mask and says, "Oh, I should have known. You know, somebody like you could have been or should have been Batman. I should have been able to piece this together all along. You know, somebody's got mommy and daddy issues," and really kind of poking at Batman. Of course, Batman gets free and is able to punch the Clue Master, and Batman has really been he's had the crap kicked out of him by the Clue Master. He's been cut and is bloodied and bruised. So he's not only, it kind of reminds me of Nightfall. Batman's been trekking around the globe in Gotham City and putting out literal fires now throughout Gotham City, and is really kind of in a weakened state to be able to fight the Clue Master. So even though Batman can kind of get the upper hand on Clue Master, Batman is on his hands and knees at one point, and the Clue Master says, unlike a lot of the villains in movies and TV series, I'm going to quit talking and I'm just going to take you out, points a gun at Batman. And then the cool panel is from Clue Master's point of view, or behind, or I guess Batman's point of view, a knife comes against the Clue Master's throat and is cut, and slits his throat and passes out, and assumably dies, is choking on his own blood. And who is standing behind the Clue Master? Again, another spoiler if you don't want to know. 5, 4, 3, 2. His brother, Lincoln March, Bruce Wayne's own brother, who, if you have read the very first story in the New 52, The Court of the Owls, it is the master talent, or some people were referring to him as the Owl Man, which I don't think that's what he refers to himself as. So looking at the Thanksgiving Day picture, if you go clear back to the very beginning that we were talking on the Rogue Show about trying to piece out and figure out, okay, what does this mean? What does this reference mean? So far, almost everything on that photo has come into play. Damian is back. There was a picture of or a shot of Damian's dog Titus with a robin on his back to indicate the robin is coming back. But I think some of these were more coming back in the broader DC theme. Damian has yet to be featured in Batman Eternal, so I would like to see him have a part in the finale of this, just to make reference that, Damian is here. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But one of the things was an owl up in the tree. I keep doing this like you can tell. But if you're looking at the picture in the upper left-hand corner is this tree with a white owl in it. So in the back of my mind, I've been kind of waiting for the Court of the Owls to make an appearance. And this has been just a giant bat, I want to say bat family, not just Batman, Robin, Red Robin, Batgirl, etc. It's the entire Batman universe at play here. So it's every villain, and Z-listers to A-listers, with the exception of the Joker, but you do have the Joker's daughter, and yes, the Joker's face was prominent for a little bit in the book. So it went from one end of the spectrum to the other, which was kind of cool to get to see this giant sandbox where everybody got to be part of the whole overarching story. So I kind of forgot about the Court of the Owls after a while, but at the same time, I was kind of thinking, where are they at is just something to throw us off. So it's the issue ends with Batman down on his hands and knees, obviously half broken and just trying to stand back up as his brother is standing before him, ready to take his final revenge on Bruce. So I'm excited to see where the story is going to end. How are they going to wrap this up? Is this going to be a thicker issue? Because there's still some other plot threads and points that they've got to wrap up in one final issue. So I'm excited about it, and I am toying with the idea of actually reading it, on camera here. So that is Batman 51. It's just a giant talking issue with the Clue Master, just kind of telling about his grand scheme and how he pulled all of these things off. And it sounds like Lincoln March was actually the grand orchestrator, and that the Clue Master was working for him, and even makes a reference to, you're not supposed to be here yet. We're not to the end. So obviously there's some double crossing going on, that the Clue Master was doing all the dirty work while Lincoln March got to watch from afar. But there have been some references to him being involved in things going on from the start. So we'll talk about those after 52 comes out, when I can give my final thoughts of that. I'm going to talk about this next book here, Future's End. This is 47. This answers the question of who is in the Batman Beyond suit here. Again, this is the last time I'm going to say spoilers in this review. You've hopefully know by now that I'm going to be spoiling all these if you have not read. So again, this is a series I have not read very much of. I'm still back on issue 11, but with this wrapping up, as I have my cat meowing at me, I apologize about that. Sorry, as I'm getting distracted here. Somebody always wants to be on film. Every time I record, there's a little voice down here. There she is. So losing track of thought here. Very professional show here, Rob. Go play. There we go. Now I'm back. I have only been up to issue 11 reading this series so far. I just got behind and got distracted. So I definitely want to go back through and read this series, knowing that this is going to be a book that is going to be part of the Convergence tie-in. So I was reading these last few issues just so I'm not so totally lost going into Convergence. But we ended the previous episode last week with Terry McGinnis dying and Tim Drake being told, you need to come into the future, which is kind of twofold. Tim's been living in denial for a while, since the big war that has gone on had kind of faked his death, or Red Robin was believed to be dead, so Tim went into hiding. There's other things at play here, but this is, I think, more people are concerned or wanting to know about Batman Beyond. So in kind of Terry's last breath, telling Tim, you need to come into the future, which is, like I said, twofold, of Tim not being this other guy that he's pretending to be for the last, 3 or 4 years, or probably even 5 years, that you need to be the Tim Drake that you need to be. There's greater stakes in this world. And it's kind of a tip to the hat to, there's a future for you beyond currently what you're doing. I don't know the rift that developed between Bruce and Tim. It is probably somewhere back in the middle of the Future's End book that I have not read, so I'm eager to go back through and read those, and I'll probably do that in the 2-month hiatus between books. So we have a confrontation, not a confrontation, we have the first re-meeting with Batman and Batman Beyond, and now Tim Drake. So you can see there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say friction, but this uncomfortableness between Bruce and Tim that I still don't know yet, just because I haven't read the other part of the Future's End. So I'm kind of wondering what had happened in the breakdown between Bruce and Tim. But while Batman, Bruce Wayne, and I want to say Mr. Terrific, I must say the Clue Master, other issue, Mr. Terrific are trying to gain control of Brother Eye. They are telling Tim, you need to go to get going into the future. You need to be able to stop things on your end. And the plan all along was for Bruce to return into the future from where Terry McGinnis came from, but the suit is not calibrated to Bruce's weight, and Tim kind of pokes a little bit at Batman. It's like, oh, you're too heavy to do this. And Tim even kind of goes after Bruce a little bit in the fact that you think you're the only one that can ever do anything. And Bruce replies, because I'm the one that Batman's always been the one that says, I'm the only one that I can trust, that if it comes down to somebody making a mistake, I'd rather it be me that makes a mistake rather than me not being able to do something. If Tim makes a mistake, Batman said, I might have done this. And Tim is explaining to Bruce, like, you trained me all these years. Let me do this. I should be able to do this. instead of Tim, they only has one jump left in the suit. So Tim decides to take a gamble because he has a girlfriend that I didn't realize his girlfriend turned into Firestorm. So I don't know what happened to the original Firestorm. I'm really lost here. But her name's Madison. So Tim thinks if he can convince Brother Eye to stop with the assimilation of Earth, that he'll be able to stay in this current future. He could stay with his girlfriend that's Firestorm, and maybe he can patch up some things between he and Bruce, and this world that they're living in and in can be a better place. So instead of jumping into time, he jumps into a different location to where Brother Eye is fully functional. And Brother Eye was created to be a peaceful thing, and the thing that triggers Brother Eye is the DC universe from 5 years. This is where it gets a little dicey. The DC universe that we're currently living in is coming to Brother Eye, and Brother Eye feels that it's a threat, so he's wanting to kill and assimilate. And Tim says, the thing that you're trying to protect, you are the thing that is causing all of this death and destruction. So Tim convinces Brother Eye to basically destroy itself. So if it destroys itself in the future, then going back into the past, and this is where things get a little dicey, that world that they were living in Terry McGinnis's future will never happen. It won't get that far, as it's 30 some odd years into the future. So Brother Eye kind of understands what Tim is trying to say, and Tim realizes that Brother Eye is going to destroy itself, and Tim's like, great, the first time I decide to be a hero, I'm going to be killed in this explosion. And Brother Eye activates Tim's wrist communicator on the Batman Beyond suit and is able to launch Tim somewhere. And Tim realizes that he's getting sucked out of the universe that he's currently in. It ends up somewhere else. And the final panel shows Tim kind of crashing in the Batman Beyond suit down through some trees in like this green wooded type area. And the last panel we see is Tim looking up with the artificial intelligence Alfred that's ever communicating with the Batman Beyond suit. And Tim says, "Is that what I think it is?" And Alfred says, "I believe that it is." And that's it, end of the issue. So I know that's not a really good synopsis of the issue. It's just the 3 issues that I've read. That's all the information that I've been able to gather. So I definitely want to go back and read it, but I want to read these last 3 issues leading into Convergence so I can kind of see what's going on. So at least for right now, Tim is very much Batman Beyond. I believe that's where the Batman Beyond series is going to go. It's going to go with Tim Drake as Batman Beyond. And some people have been asking, so does this mean Tim is leaving the Teen Titans and going to become Batman Beyond? No. And the reason I'm saying no is that this bearded Tim Drake that we see is Tim Drake 5 years from now. So technically in the year 2020, which I know if you try to use DC math, things get a little fuzzy. Tim looks like he's more age 35. So if we agree that Tim Drake right now is currently 17 to 18 years, I think a lot more time has to go by rather than 5 years, but I'm not going to argue with it. Maybe Tim is 19 years old, so maybe the argument of Tim being in his mid to early late 20s works a little bit better. So theoretically, why not theoretically, mathematically, the Teen Titans book that's currently going on can have Tim Drake in that book and be the teen Red Robin that he is. And then in the future, 30 some odd years from now, Tim Drake is Batman Beyond in the Batman Beyond universe. Now, all that aside, because of Convergence and everything that's going to be coming out, timelines could get a little crossed. So some people could argue that Tim is leaving Teen Titans and getting sucked into the future, or Tim could be leaving the Teen Titans book because Peter Tomasi is saying that he is going to be writing another Bat-type book. So I'm hoping it's a Red Robin book that maybe I think Olivia and I have talked about. Wouldn't it be cool to have Tim and Harper in a book and call it Red and Blue? Red Robin, Blue Bird, something like that. That the book could feature Red Robin, Harper Row, Bluebird, and Stephanie Brown. Spoiler, that'd be a cool book to have in the Bat family. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with the Teen Titans book and where the Batman Beyond book is going to go. And I've said before that I was never a big fan of Batman Beyond. I don't know why. I could never get into it. I think I said last week, I always kind of thought it was like Back to the Future. You try and think of futuristic stories, they always seem kind of weird, kind of hokey, that by the time you eventually catch up with, I think I said last week, October this year of 2015 is the supposed year Marty McFly went in to the future. So if you go watch Back to the Future Part 2 and watch the year 2015 that Marty McFly goes in, it looks nothing like it does right now. I know I'm thinking way outside the box, but I think that's where I was at with Batman Beyond. And again, I'm probably rehashing things from last week. As the current timeline in DC Comics keeps continuing to change and grow, it's always going to change the future. So you almost have to kind of write your future book as if everything that's happening in comics right now has already happened, which is always hard to do. So when Batman Beyond cartoon show was created, Damian was never in existence. I think Jason Todd was back at that point. So I still believe that if Damian was if Damian was created by the time Batman Beyond was in existence, they would have used Damian, so Terry McGinnis would have never, ever been created. So I kind of think that's the reason for DC doing what they're doing with the Batman Beyond character, that they're wanting to pull the Batman Beyond concept into the DC universe proper. But by doing so, you can't have Tim Drake be captured by the Joker and tortured and, mind controlled and all of that stuff going on, when currently in DC Comics that has never ever happened. So it's a way to kind of clean a slate and start from scratch. I don't know. That whole long drawn out sentence being said, I'm on the Batman Beyond title. I'll see how it is. I'm a huge Tim Drake fan, as most people can tell. So getting a chance to read Tim Drake as Batman, I think will be cool. Even though it's Batman Beyond, it was never a concept I fully grasped, but maybe this is the thing that pulls me into the Batman Beyond universe, and then I may start going, you know what? I want to watch some of the old cartoons and things like that. So that's where we are currently right now at Batman Eternal. Future's End. So there's one more issue of Future's End left, I believe, unless it's two. I believe it's one more, because this is the last publishing week for DC Comics before Convergence starts up, even though it's technically April 1st. So that's Batman Beyond. So I have one more book. This is probably going to be a short comic corner, but I've got a lot to say about this last book. I'll just show you the cover here. Batman and Robin. Again, spoilers. I'm going to spoil the crap out of this thing. This has been my favorite series in the New 52. As much as I have liked Scott Snyder's Batman run, I think it's been great. And as much of a Tim Drake fan as I am, if Tim had his own Red Robin series, maybe my view would be a little bit different. I was through all 33 issues of the original Teen Titans run, and I still very much like the current Teen Titans reboot right now with Pfeiffer and Rocafort. But this has been my favorite Bat book since the New 52. And a Robin that I could not stand at the beginning of his creation from Grant Morrison. I thought, wow, great. My favorite Robin, Tim Drake, got kicked out of the Batcave because of this little snot right here. And then something happens when you pull the comic stick out of your rear and you go ahead and read something. Something will happen to you. I grew to love the Damian character, and just about the time I started to fall in love with the Damian character, Grant Morrison killed him off. So the very person that I was mad at for creating Damian Wayne kills Damian Wayne, something that a lot of people were wishing would happen so we could reset Tim back into being Robin again. But Tim got to become Red Robin and got to grow up like Dick Grayson did, like Jason Todd did after he died. So seeing this snot-nosed punk become the Robin that he was destined to be, and knows that probably in some future beyond he'll become a Batman, maybe after Tim is done being Batman. So this I'm going to save my Robin Rises video podcast for the end of the month of April. I'm still working on it, and that's going to be celebrating ending of the 75 years celebration. I'm going to put this thing down of Robin. The month of April was when Robin made his debut in Detective Comics 38 in 1940. So I thought that would be a good way to kind of end the month of April with the Robin Rises story, if anybody hadn't seen it. This issue right here, 40, closes out the Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason run. There is one more issue left. That is the annual. Tomasi wrote that, but Gleason typically is not on the annuals for the main Robin series. So this is the end of the creative team for this book. So Damian has his superpowers. He can fly. He has super strength, super speed. And a lot of people had been kind of wondering, you know, is this the new status quo for Damian? And I was kind of one of those that's cool to see that Robin can fly and can do all these things that Superman can do, and kind of has, I thought he had some powers like Shazam. He could kind of call down lightning, but it really wasn't that at all. But it made the dynamic shift between Batman and Robin, that Robin became stronger than what Batman was. So it was kind of cool from these last 5 issues coming out of the events of Robin Rises. And what we don't know is Batman was currently devising this plan. The last issue was, I think for a month ago, was Batman takes Damian to the Watchtower to meet the Justice League. He meets Shazam, which was really kind of funny. Superman, and I think Aquaman is that. Yes. Wonder Woman ends up showing up in this book, and there is a crisis going on off the coast of Japan, and that the Justice League is called out for. So while Robin is in the Watchtower, Superman asks Batman if Damian's going to come along on this mission, and Damian's kind of like, with all these superpowers that Damian now has, that he definitely should be there. And Batman reluctantly says, you know, yes, but you have to, you know, obey and listen to what I say. So there's this giant robotic thing that is threatening the coast of Japan, but it's kind of a deserted area. And the Justice League are fighting this giant robot, and Batman communicates to Damian that the area seems to be deserted, thank goodness. So Damian basically go into full rage beast mode and take this thing out, which makes Damian happy. So Damian is flying through this robot, tearing it off with limbs, ripping up antennas off of towers and beating it like with a baseball bat, and also develops heat vision, much like Superman. So Superman and Damian are both using their heat vision at the same time. So while Robin's burning one half of the robot monster, Superman's burning the other half. And it's kind of cool to see Superman and Robin fly back and forth while the rest of the Justice League is you know, trying to bring down this monster robot. So once the dust settles, Damian is standing proudly on top of the robot monster, and Robin is there with Shazam, and the 2 youngest members of the Justice League take down this giant robot monster. So Robin and Batman fly back to Wayne Manor. They have this big, huge meal, and Damian's eating all this chicken and everything, more food than, you know, a little boy should be able to eat, Alfred kind of points out. And Damian just like passes out just from all this exhaustion. And while Damian is sleeping, Alfred asks if the plan went well. And Bruce says yes. He contacted the members of the Justice League, and Cyborg helped create this robot, and the whole mission was designed to try and deplete Damian's superpowers and see how much energy and how much force Damian could use, because Bruce believed that the Chaos Shard, a crystal shard, was fragmented, and its power source was eventually going to deplete out of Damian's body. And that's in fact what happened. Damian wakes up the next morning, is going through a stack of papers and cuts himself and realizes he's bleeding. And he's like, but bleeding? You know, Damian's had bullets bounce off of him, and he's being able to break cars over his knee. And then he's like, well, something is seriously wrong. So he's like, takes his eyes and opens his eyes and tries to light a log in Wayne Manor, and his heat vision's not working. So he's like, I surely must be able to fly. And it's kind of a comical scene. Damian takes a leap out the window and, of course, drops right to the ground and kind of is half out the window, half inside the window. And Bruce comes in and asks if Damian's all right, and Damian's like, my powers are gone. I'm useless. And Damian's like, you were never useless. You're my son, and you need to be the best Robin that you could be with the gifts and abilities that you currently have. And that will make you super in my eyes, which I thought was kind of a cute moment. So the issue ends with Batman and Robin swinging through the city streets of Gotham City, and Damian looks over his shoulder and says, "Father, is something wrong?" And Bruce or Batman says, why? And Robin says, "You're smiling." And Batman says, "I guess I am, Damian." So dun dun dun, end of the music. I thought it was a great ending to the Tomasi and Gleason Batman run. Hands down, my favorite Bat book out of the New 52. Tomasi and Gleason have been writing gold since the very beginning of the series, and the thing that really started me really liking it. I mean, I started liking it since issue 1, but the silent issue 18 as the issue after Damian dies. Damian was killed in the Batman Incorporated storyline, but 18 was the first Bat book, obviously Batman and Robin book, to deal with the loss of Damian. And there's no word balloons. If you have never read issue 18, it's nothing to read, but the panel and the artwork layout is done so beautifully. You feel all the emotion that Bruce is going through with the death of his son. So starting with 18 and going all the way up through issue 40 here with Bruce on this journey to get back his son, or to get his son's body back, turns into, not only am I going to be able to get my son's body back, but I think there's a way to bring back and save my son. So this writing, I think it's been the undersung Bat book in the DCU. So as much praise and critical acclaim, let's turn a little bit of light on here, pardon me. As much critical acclaim and praise that Snyder and Capullo get, Tomasi and Gleason, I think, deserve quite a bit. The Batman and Robin book has just been, I think it's been phenomenal. And when I have both the Capullo book and the Tomasi book side by side, the book I always end up reading first is Batman and Robin. Snyder has even said the heart of Batman is found in the pages of Batman and Robin. So it's been a 10 out of 10 the whole entire way. Issues 1 through 17 were great, but 18 is when you have a book that's Batman and Robin, and now half of your book has been killed. What do you do with the other half of the character from the series? It's just been great, and this is stuff that I'm probably going to say during the podcast of Robin Rises that I'm putting together. But phenomenal. This was a cute way and just a brilliant way to end this series. Damian's story is not done after Convergence. Patrick Gleason is going to be taking over writing duties as well as artistic duties with Robin, son of Batman. So whatever happens out of next week's Batman and Robin annual number 3, Batman and Robin are separated, because if you Google, I think I put it on my Facebook page somewhere, the cover art for Robin, son of Batman, Robin is going through like the Alps and kind of like his Robin winter type gear. And he has on a chain a red bat-looking beast behind him. It's kind of like the muscle that he is going to be, or his partner in the book. So I don't know much about it there, but obviously Batman is not in Robin, son of Batman book. But like I've been saying for a while, Batman is not probably in the armored robotic Robotech bat suit that's going around. So I'm not sure what's I'm going to be making of a Batman book after Convergence. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But that's it for Comic Corner this week. I only had 3 books. Technically, I had 4. I had an old Batgirl issue that was in my comic hold for quite a while, so I picked it up. But that was before the reboot of the Batgirl title. The only book I haven't talked about on here is the Batgirl series. I did pick up the relaunch of Batgirl. I think I had up to the most recent issue, or at least the first arc that I have. So I thought about talking about it on here, but I haven't got around to reading those, so that's really the only book left in my stack. So I might do a Batgirl thought video while Convergence is going on, since there won't be a whole lot of a whole lot of books to talk about for a little while until the comic series, DC Comics, starts publishing the rest of their books again after Convergence. So I think every week I've been saying, hey, I've got an action figure review coming up. As soon as I hit stop on this video, I'm going to upload my Daredevil Marvel Legends figure. So I do have a whole series of figures coming up. This week just kind of got away from me again, so I want to apologize. I've been saying, hey, I've got figure review coming up. Hey, I've got a figure review coming up. I think this is the 4th live video in a row that I've said I've got a figure review coming up. I do have one. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I think I've had 3 to 4 people off and on stopping in and watching this video, so thanks. I know I've been wanting to try and go back to more of a formatted video where I have pictures and all that other stuff, but I kind of like the live aspect of it, and I have my meowing cat running through here and everything else. So granted, hopefully there was no phone calls when I do these live videos. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into Rob's Sunday Comic Corner, and we will see you next week for the last publishing week of DC Comics and the few books that I have left, and it'll be the end of Endgame will be out, and a couple of tie-in books, Teen Titans Annual, Batman and Robin Annual, and then Deathstroke, I believe, is the last book that I have. Should have been out this week, but I had a mix-up at the comic book shop. So we'll see you next week, and I promise the next video is going to be Daredevil. I just have to edit it. See you guys. Bye.